What is good, boys? So I want to make this video explaining to you, I've never done this kind of video before, talked about the things I'm going to talk about in this video, and I'm essentially going to explain my whole journey to you, how I got to where I am in life and where I started from. Where did the online money making, business loving, Jamie come from? And it started a long time ago. I'm 27 now, and my earliest memories of business are when I was like 8 years old, 7 years old, and we had this like family computer, right? And this guy would come, it was like my dad's friend's friend would be the computer guy, and he'd come around and fix it. And I would be playing on this computer and it would break, and he'd come and fix it, and I'd watch him fix the computer. And it was like Windows XP, right? And I would just see Windows XP everywhere, Microsoft. And I'd say to my dad, what is Microsoft? Oh, well, it's a computer company. Who owns Microsoft? Bill Gates. Who's the richest man in the world, Dad? That's probably Bill Gates, right? And then I would keep asking him about Bill Gates, thinking that he knew some secret, he was friends with Bill Gates. How would he make all this money? Blah, blah, blah. And I just remember that very fondly. And my dad would always say to me, it's like, why do you keep asking these kind of questions? And I was like 8 or 9. Then it slowly transitioned into, asking about other businesses, different sectors, the money they would make in there, who owned these companies, what do they do, how did they do it? And my dad was never a businessman. My dad never really understood this kind of thing, but he would try and work it out for me and tell me. And this obsession kind of, grew with me. When I was 12, 13, maybe around that area. 12, 13. I got Minecraft, the video game, and I was obsessed with playing Minecraft. I loved it. I played every single day, doing everything I possibly could, but I got bored of playing it. I wanted more from Minecraft. And then I realized you can make Minecraft servers. So I saved up money from helping my parents. I would put that into opening a Minecraft server. That went, and then I got donations into this Minecraft server. I grew that, and I was never really skilled enough to make it more than that. I realized I had to learn to code. So then I went on to coding plugins, Minecraft plugins, and then I would sell these. And then I went on to forums like Black Hat World, Hack Forums, The Tech Game, forums like that. And I would go through money-making forums, right? I would read, what are people doing to make money? And I would do this for, several years. I think I did this up to before I went to uni, up to I was about, probably started at like 15, did it till I was 18, made good money from these methods I found online. If any of you know, there's Duds. I met Duds through one of these businesses, these ventures that I started, and we were both doing that. So I've known Duds for 8 years, something like that, something crazy like that. And then we both pivoted together. So these skills that I learned that came from playing Minecraft and wanting more out of it, then wanting more out of what I wanted more from, just kept going, and I wanted to learn more, know more, get more, is essentially how I started. The skills that I learned were so transferable. So I learned, the Minecraft servers, how to do marketing, then coding, websites, all of that type of stuff. And then eventually my first real kind of business online was an agency where I would do marketing and web development work. And I did that for a couple years. In 2016, I first got into Shopify, doing drop shipping there. I remember selling these moon lamps, and I did okay on Shopify. I didn't do too bad, but I was young, cash flow issues, right? I didn't really understand how to fully leverage it. Didn't have credit cards to help. Definitely didn't have an Amex to help with paid ads. Just kept trying to learn, kept trying to do better, but would come into so many bottlenecks. We'd be trying to work on those bottlenecks, but then there'd be cash flow issues, and I'd just keep learning. And then through my agency work, we started working with a guy that runs some pretty big Etsy stores. They were pretty big back then. This was 2019, 2020 time, and it opened my eyes to Etsy, right? So I wanted to bring my knowledge to Etsy. I knew Shopify dropshipping, and I thought, well, what if I can do dropshipping on Etsy? No one seems to be doing that here. If they are, they're doing a pretty good job at hiding it. So me and Duds, we got started doing that, right? And we found pretty fast results. 2020 Etsy was like nothing we've ever seen. You know, I remember logging in, seeing these dashboards and thinking, there's no way this is mine. There's no way, right? There's no way that you can do these kind of numbers. Not me. This is not my destiny. I'm not programmed to this. I shouldn't be making this kind of money. You know, I only ever expected to make a couple K a month online, not this, right? Which is why I always say, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. Because I tried and failed and could never get anything of substance to take off. And I thought, oh yeah, okay, all I'm ever going to achieve is just mediocre results until, right? The reason that I was able to do this was because I leveraged great timing. I had an opportunity, I realized how untapped it was, and I went for it, right? 20-hour days I was putting into this. And then we had our first roadblocks. We had our first major issues with Etsy, and to look them up, there was no resources online. No one was talking about it. No one was doing it. So we had to go and figure everything out, right? Everything now, I basically teach. I basically put out every resource you could possibly need is there on the internet, in the Discord. And there was none of that before. So then we ran our own Etsy stores, right? We still run our own Etsy stores. And then after 2 years, we decided, look, we need to put some information out here about Etsy. No one's doing it. Everyone's talking about Shopify. Everyone's doing this. Let's build a community. Let's build a Discord. It's probably not going to take off. You know, if we get a couple hundred people in here, I'll be happy. Right? Let's put everything we know into this Discord. And I started making TikToks for it. And they took off. And then we had 1,000 people in the Discord. And I was like, wow. Then 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. And I just couldn't believe so many people were interested in Etsy. And we're up to like 9,500 people in there now. And we've just ran Etsy, right? You know, we got back into Shopify about a year ago, and we run 3 brands on Shopify. We've done multiple 7 figures on Shopify doing drop shipping now. We do big numbers on Etsy. We have like micro agencies we run. I love putting out all this content. You know, I'm so grateful and so blessed for everything that I've been able to do. But it was kind of my life's work up until this point to get to where I am, which is why I am so grateful, which is why I keep working day after day after day. Nothing ever came from being given it. It was just making my own luck, great timing, and persevering through everything, pushing through issues and problems that would make people, you know, cripple, like, you know, curl up and want to not exist anymore. Being very sensible with the money I made along the way and putting it into the right things in the right areas has unlocked, you know, a lifetime of freedom for me. It also means that when new opportunities come along, then I have the resources that I can put into them and leverage great timing again. I also use speed. Anything I get into quickly, and I do it quick to understand what this is. Can I do it? I went to university. I was there for a couple years. That's kind of where I built my agency up. I skipped over that, and where I met Duds as well. And I dropped out after 2 years. I thought, this isn't for me. This is not what I want to do. I prefer to be at home. I prefer to be outreaching. I prefer to be, you know, building something of my own substance, building something that makes me happy, and that if I was doing it in 5, 10, 20 years, I would still be happy. But anyway, guys, this is kind of my story, explaining everything, stuff I've never really talked about. And I just want you to understand that failing is good. Years of failure is good, because it's still taking you along the path that you are on, the correct path for you. Because if you keep following that path, it will take you somewhere, and you will love where it takes you. So thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If there's any other videos you want to see, any other topics, please let me know in the comments. I'm doing these every single day, so it does take it out of me. So I appreciate your support. See you in the next one.